Well boys, how are we all getting on, and welcome back to another video. Now, we are going to be doing a review and fish on the new Waterwolf camera 2.0. This thing only came out the start of this year, I think, and it is an upgrade from the original Waterwolf, which came out 7 years ago maybe? It was a while ago anyway. And we're going to talk about it. I'm going to give a full in-depth review of how to use it since I've had a little while now to play around with it. So what exactly is the Waterwolf camera? So basically it is an underwater device, or camera, I'm trying to sound fancy, and it basically attaches to your line and it films the fish striking your lure or a dead bait, or you can even line on the bottom and have it for carp or just to film the bottom itself. So it has loads of features and it is in full 1080p. And the way I got this camera is I actually won it on a Instagram post, and I'll leave it here actually, and my good friends over at Southside Angling Dublin picked a winner and I so happened to be it, and I couldn't be more pleased with that, I'll tell you. But I think the original price for this camera is 150, 200 maybe, so it is pretty expensive, so we're going to have to find out, is it really worth the price? Now, I will admit, the box is really fancy. Like, it has all the features and stuff there, and when you remove the two slits of tape, if you remove the top, it's just like removing a phone box. But look at that, isn't that class? And then there lies the Waterwolf camera itself, and you just slide her out. It's a pretty compact yoke, you expect it to be, because you are casting this yoke. That's the main camera. And then remove this fancy slip. I'm definitely going to keep this box, absolutely love it. And then inside you get everything that you need. So we have the wire that attaches to the camera and your bag of supplies, which everything comes with. And then we have the manual, which shows everything you need to know. It even shows how to use the footage on the computer when you finish recording, which is brilliant. And then on the very bottom of the box, you get a very important notice. Now this is scattered all over the manual, but it's a pretty important instruction of how to make sure the camera stays 100% waterproof. And it's to do with the two rubber bands that lie around the cap where the SD card goes. And then the box is completely empty. There's nothing underneath her or nothing. So if we remove the box now, I'll leave it just in the corner there, we are left with everything. So the camera is kind of a raindrop shape and it goes nice and straight, so it's pretty streamlined by itself. And then underneath it has the line where your wire goes. We have the lens. Now make sure there's a little red protector. Make sure you always leave that on when you're charging or something, because that lens, I'd say, can be damaged easily. And then on the back we have the cap which comes off, which I'll show you soon a little bit. But looks wise, it's the exact same looking as the original. It's just the only thing different is the 2.0 on it. Next thing we get is the wire, and the wire's a bit bent now on mine because I've had a load of fish on it. Basically, it's a sliding plastic sleeve for the camera, and on there you have your cap, and when you hold that, mine's a little tight, the whole line comes up and it exposes the wire, and then when you close it, it shuts it. So what happens is, to apply the camera, you attach this to your line, which I'll show you just in a bit. You stick your camera on with the wire out, and then you push her the full way in like that, and push her forward. Your line goes there to your lure, this goes to your main line, and that is not coming off. I was a bit skeptical with the plastic, because any sort of plastic that holds in something like this expensive, I just tend to worry about, but that's a pretty tough material. And I pop that out and you can take the camera right off. But I do recommend when you put it on, I would use this and push the full way. And then we're going to go into what you get in the bag. So you get your charging cable, which comes in a little sleeve. Make sure you don't lose this now, but that is your screen mount, which attaches to your camera like that. That protects the screen from getting damaged or anything. You get a pin with it that you can stick through the sleeve, and that opens the hatch, but I lost mine. But any sort of wire will do, so I'm just using a big hook right now for that, and it does the job fine. And then you would use the pin here to twist open the cap. And in there is the two rubber bands that they're on about. You want to make sure when you're putting this on, the full way around they're straight. There's not one loose or anything like that. And then inside we'll go in depth a bit more, but that is the inside of the camera. And the last thing you get in your bag are the weights. Now what I forgot to mention is on this, You see this? This is not plastic. This is sort of a tough rubber. And that there is for your weights. You get 3 different weights. So by itself, the camera would float. You get a small weight. This is subsurface. You get a medium size, which is the one I use a lot when I'm casting. This is a slow sink. And then you get the big one, which is a sinking. So this is 16 gram. This is 8 gram, maybe 9 gram. And then this here is 5 to 6 gram. And the way you would attach these are, you have your sleeve there, and then you stick the weight into it and you push in until it goes the full way in. And it's pretty tight fit, which is perfect because you do not want that sliding out. But when that's in, that's in. And the way to get it out is with your pin. You can see there's a dot in the front of the wire. You get your pin, you stick her into the front of it. When you push it out enough, it should just come out like that. So it's good to know it stays in there nice and tightly, and I'm glad that's not plastic either, so they definitely thought of that quite well. So that's everything in the box, or in the manuals. And now we're going to talk about how to use the camera. So when you buy the camera, you have to get an SD card first. That just stores all your memory from your filming, and you can attach that into your computer, and you can do whatever you want with it then. It recommends a 128 gigabyte SD card, but I've been using just a 64 gigabyte SD card, and it's been lasting me hours. So when you have your SD card on your camera, you're ready to start. So what you want to do, obviously, first of all, is get an adapter and your charging cable. That goes into the camera, that goes into your adapter, and then you charge it. It takes about 3-ish hours to charge, but you'll know anyway because there's a red light that is on the camera, and then when it is fully charged, the red light will turn off. That means you are good to go. So then that's how you plug that out, and then what you want to do then is you want to get your SD card, and the way it goes is all your info goes on the bottom. So your bit there, that goes on top. And you stick your SD card in and you push. That is inserted now and that is ready to record. And then you have your buttons. Now, the difference between this and the original camera was the original camera had a switch which was from off to on, which was much handier than this one. This one's a little bit tricky with these 2 buttons. So when you first get the camera and you get your SD card, so to turn on the camera, what you do is you see the button that says on and off, you hold that down for a second and you let go, and a green light will beep 3 times quickly and then stay on. That means it is on, however it is not recording. So the button beside that says record pause. You hold that down for a second as well and you let go, and the green light should start blinking green very slowly, off, on, off, on. That means it is now filming, and you can also pause it. And then to turn off, you don't even need to pause or anything. You hold the button down for a second or 2 and you let go. It should beep 3 times, twice, and then turn off. That's how you know the camera is off. Now, when you first buy your camera, when you first insert a new SD card into the camera, when you turn on the camera, the green light will blink 3 times, but then a red light will blink 10 times. That means your SD card is not valid just yet. What you actually have to do, it's pretty simple. The record part, when it's blinking red 10 times, as soon as it starts blinking red, you hold the record button down for 5 to 7 seconds, and then it should turn on green instantly. That means you are now ready to record. So you just press record and you're off. And once you do that, that SD card that you've inserted will work perfectly unless it is corrupt. And then you can change it and do the same thing again. But once you have your SD card sorted, it's literally just hold on, let it beep, then press record, and then turn off. It's that simple. So when your SD card's in, you put your pin back into your cap and you put it straightly onto your camera and you twist around until it is fully tight. Now, how you'll know is the cap there won't be a gap at all. It'll be straight around the whole thing, nice and tight to it. And the rubber bands are perfectly parallel to each other. If your cap is not on fully or one of your rubber bands is off, water can get into it and that could ruin your whole camera. So you have to make sure it's on the whole time. So now your camera is ready. You want to put this on your line. Now, what I recommend you do, I would not throw this camera on any light gear. It's all heavy gear, like 80 to 100 pound braid. If you need to go lighter, you can, but I don't trust myself. And then I will go down to a swivel and I will clip on a lighter wire trace. That means if your lure gets snagged or whatever, you could even use lighter hooks or whatever, that will go before this, because you do not want to be losing this, believe me. And then all you do then, once your lead's in, you're attached to your lines, your trace is on, you put on your camera, push her into place, make sure you're happy with that, check all your knots, make sure they are perfect, your weight's in, you are good to fish. But now we're going to go into some fishing footage I managed to film. This was filmed around April now. This was like the middle of April, so the weeds were only just getting like growing. And as you can see, a lot of the rivers and stuff were either really weedy or they were like rocky or sandy. And these are good things to know, because then you know how long you can let your lure sink down for, what areas you can fish lighter stuff for certain types of lures. So that was pretty nice. And then here are some of the pike attacks I got.
Little Jack. Now, first fish. Absolutely tiny. Don't struggle, let me hold you. Cool.
And then here's the second bit of footage. I didn't have my chest cam on for this bit, but you can actually see the pike just honing in on the lure before he goes to attack it. Now these are only small jacks, but these are unreal to watch. And in this footage, I was fishing a pretty big size like lure for small fish. And as you can see, this perch came out of nowhere and just had a little go with it. I think that's hilarious to see that. And then this is in the same spot, there's a few casts later. And so as you can see, right there, there's a really big perch. He's about 1.5 pounds now, that fish. And he actually went up for the lure as well, which was interesting. And here's another handy thing about the camera. So after I saw that footage of those perch, I was like, I need to try that. So I went down very recently then with small crankbaits, and I did manage to get one of them.
Fish, perch. Oh, the camera worked. It showed me where the perch were. There you go, first river perch here.
And then here is some footage of roach and perch I managed to get on the bottom. So overall, you can't say anything really bad about the Waterwolf. It's done everything it's needed to. Nothing really bad has happened. The only negative thing I get to say about the camera is if you're casting the lures long distance and stuff, sometimes the wire trace can tangle with the camera. Certain lures did it to me more than others. That's just the weight difference and all this, but it was a bit annoying at times. But the way I think to figure that out is you want to get them stiff, like jerkbait traits, and stick them on. They're never going to twist and tangle unless you have like a curly tail lure or your braid is real thin or something. So that's definitely something I recommend doing if you get the camera. Normal wire will work if you're trolling, but for casting it's a little bit Oh, and here's another good thing as well. So as you can see here, I'm testing different lures with the camera just to see if the certain wobbles of lures will affect the camera. And I was surprised to see, especially with this one, the Rapala X-Rap Otis, how it has that really violent side to side wobble, how it does not affect the camera at all, which was brilliant to see. So in really conclusion, there's no real negative thing to say about the camera. If you do everything right and you know how to fish it and all this, you will really like the Waterwolf camera, especially if you get some big fish hits on it, which I have seen on the internet plenty of times. Let's not forget, right, it is a very expensive bit of kit just to be casting around, but other than that, like, if you think you're able and you want it real badly, you'll be very impressed with the Waterwolf 2.0, and I definitely think it is an improvement over the original. And I will definitely be using this in the winter because I want to get some big fish to take the lures or even hit the camera themselves. You never know. But I can't wait to see some great things with this, and you're definitely gonna see in a lot more videos of underwater footage and stuff. So anyway, boys, I know it's been a long video, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next videos. Good luck.
I can